Hello and welcome, my friends. Welcome back to my Tarot 101 series. Oh yeah, we're getting into the good stuff. You've got your deck, you have unpackaged it, you have connected with it, you've cleared and charged it. And now what? And if you guys are new to the series, please, if you haven't done so, go back and start at the beginning, because it is important the deck you start with and getting it kind of primed and ready to this point. So, that said, we have this deck. Let's start to use it. How do you read? Well, it is an art form, so how I do it and how other people read will vary. However, at the end of the day, it's similar. A painter will still use a paintbrush or paint to create that art form. A tarot reader has their deck. Now, when you're reading, you read what's called a spread, which is just how you arrange the cards. Well, there's a variety of spreads. Some people are very technical and must follow the spread to the letter. It's personal choice. Again, how are you going to work with your deck? Now, there's a lot of little tips I will be sharing with you, so please just bear with me because they just come up as I go. The first one is to know that the hardest person to read for is yourself. There's a lot of things that you want to see, you want confirmation of. However, when tarot doesn't do that, we start to see into it. And we want to make sure that what we want will happen. These false confirmations, false negatives, if you will, they're common, especially when you're reading for yourself. So, yes, start to read for yourself. However, I would add in little learning opportunities for reading for others. It's a very different ball game because you don't have those desired outcomes. You have a more open mind. It helps you to see the difference and see the cards in action in different ways. And yeah, it's scary as high heaven. However, let them know you're learning and to have patience, because sometimes when you get the cards all primed and ready, you forget everything and you just like, I don't know where I'm at. Breathe. Just breathe. I'll also be giving you guys some tips and tools on how to read the cards. And it doesn't require you, this is another myth buster, to remember all 78 cards and their meanings. Yeah, you're not going to. And know that even if you did Google Ace of Wands, there's pages and pages of meaning. The minute you start to add in more cards, them interrelating and interacting will create a different outcome. So please, myth one, please do not try to remember all 78 cards. It's not going to help you. So that said, starting off with the basics, the first spread that I'm going to recommend, and you'll hear a lot of people recommend it, is a 1-card draw. Each day, drawing 1 card, usually asking about your day. This isn't really a myth, but it is kind of I don't know if it's a warning, but just be aware. An awareness, I guess. Please don't over-rely on tarot. Make decisions without it. Why? When we over-rely on something to make our decisions, we minimize our intuition. We minimize those other senses. that we need for tarot. So there is sometimes an over-reliance on the cards to answer all the questions. Don't make it so overwhelming. You want to be able to enjoy this process. So you have your cards, you've charged them, they're ready to go. I always encourage people, if it's your first card read of the day, or if it's, some people struggle to read every day. Okay, whatever. Do what feels right for you, but start by shaking and waking up your cards, doing a shuffle without any thought, just waking them up and connecting. And then you can start to shuffle your cards and ask your question. And you can pick a card. That bottom card felt right because it was sticking out. Some people take their card that way. Other people will shuffle till they'll have what's called a jumper, which is basically a card that falls out of your deck while you're shuffling. And it's incredibly hard to do. There we go, command. That one actually has 2. If it's a couple of cards like that, then it's a jumper. If it's half the deck, quarter of the deck, many cards, it's a shuffling error. And that happens, especially as we're trying to shuffle and talk. So yes, in a 2-card draw or a single card draw, you could have 2 cards jump out. That's okay. I'm going to put that to the side and we'll talk about multiple cards in a second. So you have a single card. What do you do with it? Well, first of all, and I know a lot of readers who suggest this, don't worry about the orientation right now, because the reading of a card, what's called in the upright versus a reversal, which is obviously reversed, is different. It's not a bad thing, it's just a different thing. Start the beast off with something that's going to be a little bit more manageable. And then, honestly, look at the card in what picture or part of the card symbol speaks to you when you look at it. Is it the little leaves budding from the wands coming down? Is it the number? And I've said this before in my series, the only time people really use Roman numerals anymore is in something like this. Is it all the blue? Because it can just be a color. This is why I encourage people to start off with the Rider Waite or one of the primary decks, the Thoth deck, or one of the Lenormand. And I do go into each deck, the Lenormand, the Thoth, the Rider Waite, in my exploration of the deck. I'll put a card above and a link below to that specific playlist so you have a better understanding of each deck. Can you read any and all of them? Yes, by the same system that I'm going to teach you here. And that's through symbols. And when we start to work with the symbols and we start to talk about that story, well, that's how you're going to get that tarot read. Because each card, it does talk about different things. However, how it relates to you will kind of give you that structure and backbone onto your reading. Because the 8 of Wands may always bring forth that sense of, I don't know, say movement, or it reminds you of a time when. You may not be able to put your finger quite on it. Go with that. That's an innate connection to that card. That's why I say, make sure that you spend some time with your cards. Connect in with them by pulling them and looking at your card. So with a 1-card draw, I would encourage you to have your spiritual binder. And for my new friends here who are not too sure, literally, it's a binder. You put your spiritual stuff in. It's really not that complicated. It's just a better and more manageable way to keep all the information together. So you get your binder, you write down the date and what card. I would encourage you to write down underneath of it, and it doesn't have to be in full sentences. It's just got to be information. So you can bullet point it. Make it work for you, basically. Write down, what do you see that connects, resonates, jumps out from your card? Any little wibbly information that's coming forward, any gut instinct or reaction. And then do your day. And before you go to bed, check back. Look at the card. What did you kind of predict? And what happened? Like I said earlier, reading for self can be very hard because we can see things in the cards that we quote unquote want to happen rather than what that warning was. This helps to start to see a pattern in not only your reading for self, but some of those little trips and falls that we can have. That's why reading for self is so challenging. So you can do that. A one card draw or a single card spread can be really helpful to get that mojo going, if you will. Is it exciting to pull a card every day and find out what the day is going to bring? For the first little while, yes. However, it becomes monotonous and repetitive. You can ask different questions. You can also do what's called a tarot challenge. On my social media, every month, I have a new tarot challenge. So the questions are already written down for you to do your pull, your one card spread. I've linked below all my social media so you can check it out. At the end of the month, I always post, usually a couple of days before the end of the month, what that next challenge is going to be. So you can easily grab hold of it and work with it. The most important thing is to remember to have fun with this. If it becomes monotonous or what's called like a chore, you're going to lose some of the information that is trying to be shared with you. You want to keep an open mind and you want to have fun with this because that makes a huge difference in your reading. All right, so what happens if you draw one card and you get two for the price of one? Well, they start to interrelate and interact. This is why I say to people, please don't try and remember all 78 cards, because on top of all 78 cards, you have the reversals of all 78 cards, and then how to interact and relate with all 78 cards. So don't try and remember what the card means, because it will have a different meaning for you than another person. This is the art of reading tarot. So you have two cards. Well, first of all, write them both down. And then what symbols, start with one. It's funny, we have a one, but you start with one of the cards. What symbols, again, pop out? It could be the number. It could be, well, for the Ace of Cups, it could be anything, right? We've got a dove here. We've got a hand. We've got the flowing water. There's lots of things in that card. So write down the symbols that connect with you. Is it because it's the first card? Is it because we've got a lot of gray? We've got a lot of gray in the second card. How do they interrelate? What part of the second card pops out? When you start to connect that picture, that story, that the two will start to twine and weave for you, that's how you'll get the information and meaning. And the symbols may not right away make sense. Write down what's popping out in your mind, and then allow that information to sit, especially if it's the first time you've ever had multiple cards. Then do your day. See how one may have been a warning, where another one may have been an encouragement, or they're both trying to steer you towards a similar outcome. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about that direction, as tarot is a mapping out tool rather than a tool of, if you will, consequence. There are consequences, don't get me wrong. If you keep asking your tarot deck the same question every day and it gives you the same answer a couple of times, but you ignore it because it's not the answer you want and keep pushing it, your deck will start to mess with your mind, if you will. So just know that too is a myth, that, oh, if I just keep asking the question, I will get the answer I'm looking for. No, not necessarily. And this happens a lot when you're trying to, again, like I said, get a specific outcome. Rather than going in it with a specific determined end result, it's more about asking the question and then being open to the information that is being shared with you. And again, part of the, I guess, grandeur, what I love about tarot, there is structure. We've got the numbers, we've got the suits, but there's also lore behind each card, right? The universal hand that comes out in all the aces. This is a hermaphrodite. This is the symbol for that justice, that legality, those decisions. And it is quite interesting. And that's part of why I love tarot. There is that foundation. However, you use your creativity, your intuition to gain that answer. I do want to thank you guys for joining me. I will continue working with the deck and giving you guys these little snippets of information to help you better connect in with this tool, because it is a tool that will help connect you to the answers that you're looking for. Now, if you did enjoy this session, please give it a thumbs up and let me know what you're most excited for your tarot deck. And if you haven't done so, my friends, please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell, as I have more teachings, readings, and healings coming forward. You don't want to miss any of it. Additionally, if you're looking for an added layer of support, including helpful cheat sheets on my teachings, on all my 101 series, I do have a Patreon page. I provided a link below so you can go check it out. Again, I want to thank you for joining me in exploring tarot, and I can't wait to dive more deeply into the deck with you. Until tomorrow, my friends.